Okay, but the link between meat and cancer is such that even the Journal of Meat Science last year asked, should we become vegetarians? Or they said, can we make meat safer? There's a bunch of additives, for example, that can suppress the toxic effects of the blood-based iron, the heme iron found in meat. Now, the additives are still under study, but could provide an acceptable way to prevent colon cancer, right? Because avoiding meat, obviously, completely out of the question. I mean, that's... They fear that if the National Cancer Institute recommendations to reduce meat consumption were adhered to, sure, cancer incidence may be reduced, but farmers in the meat industry would suffer important economic problems. Now, for those of us more concerned about the suffering caused by the meat industry rather than the suffering of the meat industry, what happens if you put cancer on a vegan diet? Well, the Pritikin Research Foundation just completed this elegant series of experiments, which I want to spend a bit of time on. Simple experiments. They put people on different diets, draw their blood, and then drip their blood on cancer cells growing in a petri dish, and just stood back to see whose blood was better at suppressing cancer growth. They're the ones that published that study showing that the blood of those on a vegan diet was dramatically less hospitable to cancer. Now, even the blood of those on a standard American diet fights cancer. I mean, if it didn't, everybody'd be dead, right? It's just that the blood of those eating vegan fights about 8 times better. The blood of those on a standard American diet suppresses cancer growth by about 9%. You put people on a plant-based diet for a year, though, and their blood just tears it up. Right? The blood circulating through the bodies of vegans has nearly 8 times the stopping power when it comes to cancer cell growth. Now, this is for prostate cancer, most common cancer among men. For women, it's breast cancer. So the Pritikin researchers tried duplicating this study with women using breast cancer cells instead. Now, they didn't want to wait a whole year to get the results, so they figured they'd try to see what a plant-based diet could do in just 2 weeks against 3 different types of human breast cancer. This is the before, cancer growth rates powering away at 100%, and then this is after eating a plant-based diet for just 14 days. Now, slowing down cancer growth is great, but getting rid of them, getting rid of cancer cells is even better. This is before and after measuring cancer cell death, right? This is the before, and this is the after, pre and post plants. The same blood now coursing through these women's bodies gained the power to significantly slow down and stop breast cancer growth thanks to just 2 weeks of eating a plant-based diet. What kind of blood do we want in our body? What kind of immune system, right? Do we want blood that's just kind of roll over when new cancer cells pop up, right? Or do we want blood circulating to every nook and cranny within our bodies with the power to slow down and stop them? Now, this strengthening of cancer defenses was after 14 days of a plant-based diet and exercise. They were out walking 30 to 60 minutes a day. Right? Wait, well, maybe the only reason their bodies became, so effective at suppressing cancer cell growth was because of the exercise. Maybe diet didn't have anything to do with it. So they put it to the test. This is measuring cancer cell clearance. And this is what we saw before, the effect of blood taken from those eating a plant-based diet, in this case for 14 years, along with mild exercise, just like walking every day, right? So, plant-based diets, walking, that's the kind of cancer cell clearance you get. Now, compare that to the cancer-stopping power of your average sedentary. You see this little burger, apple? Oh, sorry, I can't. All right. On the website, it's a little, okay, but okay. Okay, compared to the cancer-stopping power of your average sedentary meat eater, which is basically non-existent. Okay, but what about this middle group? Now this middle group, instead of 14 years on a plant-based diet, they had 14 years of the standard American diet, but had daily strenuous hour-long exercise, like boot camp this morning. Seriously, calisthenics, right? They wanted to know, if you exercise hard enough and long enough, can you rival some strolling vegans? All right. Let's find out. And exercise worked, no question, right? But literally 5,000 hours in the gym, no match for a plant-based diet.